Welcome to the archives. This edition of Gambling History and True Stories is brought to you by Our Casino Combat Podcast. Copyright 2025, Volcanic Dingo, LLC. All rights reserved.
You know, in poker, some hands win you cash, some make you a legend. But there's only one that's famous for getting you killed. Let's talk about the most infamous hand in all of gambling, the dead man's hand.
So what is it, exactly? Well, on paper, it's just a two-pair poker hand. Specifically, the black aces and the black eights. It's a pretty strong hand, yeah, but it's not unbeatable, right? By itself, it's just cards.
So you gotta ask, how in the world did this particular two-pair get stuck with a name like that? I mean, a dead man's hand. To figure that out, we've got to travel back in time, way back to the Wild West.
All right, picture this. It's Deadwood, Dakota Territory, August 2nd, 1876. It's hot, it's dusty, and what starts as just another poker game is about to become a piece of American legend. So, we're inside Nuttall and Mann's saloon. And who's at the poker table? None other than the legendary Wild Bill Hickok. But on this day, he does something he never does. He makes a fatal mistake. He breaks his number one rule. He sits with his back to the door. And you want to know why? It was the only open seat at the game. A simple choice that would change everything.
And listen, this whole thing went down so fast. Hickok's been playing for a bit, it's the afternoon. Then, around 4:15, this drifter, a guy named Jack McCall, just wanders into the saloon. Nobody really pays him any mind. And then, bam! Just moments later, McCall is behind Hickok, pulls out a pistol, and shoots him in the back of the head. Just like that, it was over.
And as he fires, McCall supposedly yells out, "Damn you, take that!" This wasn't some noble standoff in the street. This wasn't a duel. It was an ambush, a cold-blooded murder from behind. And it locked both of their names into history forever. So, the big question is, why? Why would this nobody, this drifter Jack McCall, just walk in and kill one of the most famous gunslingers in the entire West? Well, the motive? It's a classic tale of a bruised ego, a little bit of pride, and a whole lot of gambling rage.
And to really get it, you have to look at these two guys. On one side, you've got Wild Bill. Yeah, he's a legend, but let's be real. His best days are behind him. His eyesight's going bad because of glaucoma, he's basically flat broke, and he's just grinding it out of the poker table to make rent. Then you've got Jack McCall. He's not a rival gunslinger. He's nobody, a total unknown who'd lost every last cent he had to Hickok just the day before.
Now, McCall tried to cook up a story later. He claimed he was avenging his brother's death at Hickok's hands. Total lie. Didn't happen. The real reason? It was much, much smaller than that. After McCall lost all his money, Hickok, maybe trying to be nice, maybe rubbing it in, offered him some cash to get breakfast. And for McCall, that was the ultimate insult. This wasn't about justice. It was an ego killing, pure and simple. What we'd call today a classic case of gambling tilt.
Okay, so this is where the story gets even more interesting. And a little mysterious. We know for sure he was holding those two black aces and two black eights. But what about the fifth card? What was the kicker? That's the part nobody can quite agree on.
Well, there are a few different theories floating around. The one you hear most often, the kind of romanticized Hollywood version, is that it was the Queen of Hearts. But some actual historical accounts from back then suggest it was the Nine of Diamonds. Then there's a third option, which honestly makes a lot of sense. Maybe there was no fifth card. It's totally possible Hickok could just discard it and was literally waiting for his final card when McCall shot him.
And the story is just packed with these crazy little details that make it so legendary. For instance, the actual chair Hickok died in, it became this famous kind of cursed piece of folklore. And get this, the bullet didn't even stop with Hickok. It went clean through his head and ended up lodging in the wrist of another guy at the table. But maybe the most haunting detail of all is that Hickok was holding his cards so tight in that final moment, they literally had to pry them from his fingers after he died.
So think about it. One single, violent moment in one dusty saloon, and it creates this legacy that has lasted for what? Almost 150 years. It's become the symbol for the ultimate bad beat in gambling. Because really, when you strip away all the gun smoke and the Old West myths, the story of the dead man's hand leaves us with a really tough lesson, you know? A lesson about luck and chance and how quickly things can change.
And that is why we all know this specific hand today. It's funny, before this whole thing happened, other poker hands had been called a dead man's hand from time to time.
But the story of Hickok's murder was just so dramatic, so legendary, that it permanently attached the name to his two pair, black aces and eights.
So in the end, that's what the hand really stands for. It's the ultimate bad beat. It's this powerful, kind of chilling reminder that it doesn't matter how strong your hand is or how good you think your position is. Disaster can come out of nowhere. It's true in poker, and it's true in life. You often never see the bullet that's really got your name on it.
So there you have it, the story behind the legend of the dead man's hand. Copyright 2025 Volcanic Dingo, LLC. All rights reserved.
Just remember, everything here is for entertainment purposes only, and if you or anybody you know has a gambling problem and needs help, please call 1-800-GAMBLER. You know, it really makes you think, what other incredible stories are just waiting to be told, hidden inside a simple deck of cards?